Hey guys, this is Matt Kids101 with Python Lesson 1. So this is going to be the first of many Python tutorials that I'm going to be making, and in which I will teach you the basics to pretty cool stuff in Python. Not to say that the basics aren't cool. So the reason I'm doing this specifically with Python is because I made some tutorials on other languages and people requested languages as, they want to learn something. So Python was the most requested language, and it's pretty cool. So I learned it, and I'm going to teach it to you. So I'm going to be using Terminal to code in Python. Terminal is a good environment in my opinion. If you want to use it, that's alright. If you don't want to use it, then you can use a text editor or something else. But I'm going to be using Terminal to program in Python. So we're going to start out by editing our first Python application. Now, on Unix, there's one line of code before every Python program you want to put. And that is #user/bin/python. And that is just for executable stuff. You don't have to understand that. That's really not part of Python itself. Under this is where all our code actually goes. So, let's say we want to make a Hello World application. That's normally the first thing anyone makes in a programming language. So what we're going to do is do print Hello World. So this will print out the text Hello World. You see we have print, which is a command. We have left quote Hello World, right quote. And this will print out the text Hello World. So to run this, we type Python space and then the file name. I'll say hello world. Alright, so we've gotten started. We're doing our first Python program. Now let's say we want to make the user enter their name and then it'll say hello to them. What we're going to do is say enter name please. Now we're going to say name equals raw input. Now we're going to say print hello name. And so what this does essentially, prints out enter name please, then it creates a variable called name and assigns it whatever they type in. A variable is like in math something that can change. That's normally represented with something that's not a number. Now in math, variables can only be one letter. In programming, they can be any length, or they have a limited length, but it can be longer than one letter. So here we're assigning name to be whatever they type in that happens to be called the raw input. And then this following line prints out hello space and then their name and then exclamation point. So you might wonder, how does this last line work? And the answer to that is it takes the string hello, then it adds onto it name, which is also a string, and adds onto that the string exclamation point. Now, a string is a piece of text. It's a string of characters, essentially, and that's why it's called a string. So, you're going to be hearing that term as well as ints, which stand for integer, which is a whole number, a lot in programming in general. So, it's good to know those. So, if we run this right now, enter name, Alex, and it says hello, Alex. So, we've already gotten input from the user. It's pretty impressive. And in only 3 lines of code. So, let's say now we want to ask them for their age, and based on their age, say something that we think about them. So what we're going to do from there is print, enter your age, please. And we're going to get it in years. So we're going to say age equals raw input. Thing is, the age is going to be a string. We can't really use it as if it's an integer if it's a string. So we're going to say nAge, which stands for number age, equals int left parenthesis, age right parenthesis. And what this essentially does is converts the string age to an int. So there's a function called int, which, you give it age. And once again, if you've done functional notation in math, you will understand this a bit better. So, we've done this. Now we're going to say if, and this is just like if statements on a programmable calculator, for instance. So it's comparing things, and then it's going to do something based on what we're comparing. So we're checking if, let's say, nAge is less than 10. We're going to say print you're pretty young. Alright, so let's go through this. The way an if statement works is it's if, space, the condition, which is n age less than 10, then a colon. Then on the next line and on the lines after that, everything that's indented, the way this is, should be part of that if statement. So if this, if n age less than 10, has no tabs before it, then everything inside of that if statement should have one tab. If it has one tab before it, everything inside of that if statement should have two tabs, etc. So that's how you'd put if statements inside of if statements. Now, to end the if statement, we simply don't tab anymore. We're going to do another if statement. We're going to say if n age greater than 20, print, let's say out of high school, hopefully. And let's put a comma. So, and let's also do if n age equals 13, we can print year in middle school. Alright, now I'm not saying anything about people who are these ages, but this is just an example for if statements. So, this will make it so if their age that they enter is less than 10, it says you're pretty young. If it's greater than 20, it says you're out of high school, hopefully. Yeah. And if they're 13, then it says you're in middle school, presumably, if they didn't skip a couple grades. And then we'll say print goodbye, just so we know the program is over. And I like to space out my code. It organizes things. It's a nice thing to do. So, now let's run this. Enter name, Alex. Enter age. I'll say 13. You're in middle school. Goodbye. Now if I say 9, it says you're pretty young. If I say 21, it says you're out of high school, hopefully. So, this is an example of if statements, which are comparisons between anything. We're comparing numbers. So we have less than, which compares if the thing on the left is less than the thing on the right. We have greater than, which is the opposite. And we have equals, which is the same as equals. So we're checking if they're both the same thing. So that's all we have for you today in our first Python tutorial. You can go a long ways with this simple information, with this converting things to numbers, getting console input, printing out things with, other strings attached, and if statements. So anyway, that's Python tutorial 1. We'll have the second one out soon, so thanks for watching My Kids in 1. Subscribe, and goodbye.